Hopefully we are going live. Yes. Oh my goodness. Is this actually working? Let's not say too much too soon, eh? Many a trick between cup and lip. Yay, you need your headsets, Arnie B. Good to see the producers all over it, isn't they? Oh dear. You
So
just
do you want to present-
can't get the staff, you know. Well, I can turn it around slightly so we can see you as well, Arnie. You know you like to be on telly. Excellent. Oh, we got so much on tonight. Chat rates, loads of messages. Look at the messages flying up. Hi, Johnny. Just bought Story of Glamorgan. Yes, I'm going to be quoting from that in this today. Oh, there's a bit of a lag. Oh, well, I'll be a little bit behind the messages, that's all. All right? I don't pause it. I'll maybe further behind. All right.
Wait, can I have your hand a second?
My hand?
I need to
All right, I want to do a little. It's a long lag. Anyway, let's say hello to some people before we get going. Let's turn this music down as well. Ba 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 da. Da 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 da. All right, nicely done. What a pro DJ. Right, let's look. Who we got? Chris Wood. Yeah, you are early, Chris. You were very early. Why can't we see you, Arnie?
26 and a half.
26 and a half seconds, the longest lag ever. So if you leave a message, it's going to be about half a minute before I see it, alright? I changed. I know what's happened. I was a bit washed out on the colours earlier. I did a little test this afternoon and David said I looked overexposed. So the trade-off is you have me white ghost-like with white hair, or you can have nice full colour with a bigger lag. So I'll try and think of another way around it for next week, but I think we're off and running. That's the good news. Who else we got? Robert PSA Lego is here. Mandy. Oh, good to see you, Mandy. Excellent. Patricia, all the way from Canada. Andrew Whelan. Steve from Croydon. I used to work in Croydon. I used to work in the aerodrome there. Nothing to do with aeroplanes. Chris Wood, Alan Griffith, Dallin Cole, Alan Reese. Everyone's saying hello. This is great. Yes, Tudor, we are now on. So all I know is loads and loads of messages. Goodness, I can't keep up with them all even. Tara. Hello, Tara.
I'm not reading the latest ones.
No, I am good 30 seconds behind you. Cardiff girl, hello. Super glad. There we are. Brilliant. Right, let's do a quick run through the running order. Got quite a lot to cover. There were so many things. Could do about 3 hours, all right? Maybe I'll do another programme during the week. Because can't be late on a Sunday, can we, Arnie? Because you want to get to bed for school in the morning, isn't it? You'd hate the late night. That'd be awful, wouldn't it?
I have a new channel logo.
You're going to come around slightly so you can see you as well. You can say hello. You got a what? A new channel logo?
Yeah, my new YouTube channel logo. You can't really see it, but it's awesome.
Oh, it's awesome. If you look close up on Arnie Presents logo, you'll see it's awesome, apparently. Right, so there's been some really good chats this week on the Facebook, which has been brilliant. We got Dave. God, I'm getting nervous now. There's so many people online already. This is fantastic. So we're looking at little chat we had there. And I hope Caleb's logged in. Caleb Howells, he's a writer and he's part of our group. And comes up with some good stuff. Sometimes. we don't always see eye to eye, but fair play. Spotted some really good this week. And then I got a little bit more of an update from Steve Willett. Can you check my emails there, please, Arnie?
Oh, yeah.
Go and check there. Because Steve did tell me over the phone. I started making notes, and he said, no need to make notes, he said, because I'll email it all to you. Can you scroll up to the top? And I haven't got it. Luckily, I've got a really good memory, and I did scribble it down. So hope everything's right with Stephen. So we've got that stuff coming on. A little bit more information. A load of this information. The reason, right, for those who don't know this book, I've got the original here, just to show you, and I've gone through it. The only difference between this old book, apart from the fact this is falling apart, literally falling apart, unfortunately, rather sadly, the biggest difference is the pictures are really, really quite good quality in the original, and they're not as good quality in the new one. I can see on the screen now that you can see a lot better with the new lighting and colours. Just a little bit of lag involved. So you can buy this from Gian Books, which we've gone about a lot, because it seems to be the only way to get historical Welsh books. And the reason I mentioned this one in particular, is because as you can see on the stamps on the front, Hopefully you actually see them this time. These are all, this is school books. This is what used to be given out to children and form part of the syllabus. And one of the things I want to say here, this is about Glamorgan. I've got another book about Gwent. But I don't want to make this just a program or a channel about Wales, okay? So if you can find, I'm sure it's going to be the same situation in Scotland, England, Ireland. You can have the same thing going on, whereby the history that was taught in the schools up until about the 1920s and 30s, the start of the BBC really, was when everything seemed to change. If you can find school books from before then, and see what used to be taught in school before this new, some sort of political correctness or whatever came along, and just changed everything, and we stopped teaching all these great things about British history, and I don't know what it's being replaced with, really. Because my glasses gone. Had them on a second ago. Here we are. Loving the logo on, he says Tara. Thank you, Tara. Who else we got? Oh, hello, Thinky Stingers is here. Everyone's here. How do you spell that printer, Ross? Okay, yeah, sorry. I'll just use a bit of high-tech. I know what I'll do. I will do it a bit high-tech, actually. I will put this on screen in a second. I'll just make a little text thing while I'm talking to you. Textbooks. Insert the box there. I've got a couple of names, but the easiest one to find is just guianbooks.co.uk. And I can put that on the screen, I think. God, am I getting clever if this comes right? Alright, I could have made that a bit bigger. It would have been good, wouldn't it? Ah! I just got rid of it. Ah, it's gone. Let's make it bigger. I want it a lot bigger, a lot bigger, a lot bigger. Sorry to delay the whole show like this. There we are. I don't get commission or anything off these guys. Maybe I should. Because a lot of people are going there now. And there we go. So hopefully you can see that. guianbooks.com. Not .co.uk. Muppet. Arr. Trying to be clever, you see. I should have just told you, shouldn't I? .com. There we go. Alright, so if you go to guianbooks.com, you get all these books. And if you find some more old books, these more old history books, please let me know. It doesn't have to just be Welsh, alright? This is not a Welsh thing. It's the whole of Britain's having its history. I always say in many ways that England has lost out more than any country because English people don't even realise, well, the vast majority, that they've even had a history that's gone. There is a pre-Saxon English history. It's very important. And areas like Leicester and that, which 7th, 8th or even 9th century were still British. It's called Emmet, I think his name. And as you see on the other videos, a lot of people, when they do their video about who are the English, it's less than, according to DNA anyway, if that means anything, it's less than 30% of the population are actually Angles or Saxons. And what never seems to get mentioned in history is all the other races coming in, like this, for the migration from Sumer, which presumably is where Somerset starts from. You've got the old Securnas, which formed Syria, which is Surrey. And you've got lots of other groups, like Vandals coming into Mercia and all sorts of stuff. Same with Scotland. Scotland's a very confusing picture. I did have someone lined up to talk to me and actually come on the programme and talk more about it because there's a lot, but that's had to be delayed. So I haven't forgotten that we're going to do a Scotland programme, alright? And I got more information on that. So as I do, I was going through the running list. I got distracted before you even started. Can you see the comments? Can you just be a little bit nearer, Arnie, so I can see as well? Hello, right, just, okay, keep an eye on that for me, please, Aunt. Right, so the reason I mentioned this book is this isn't, some people, particularly when you mention words like Wilson and Blackett, it's very kind of toxic. People think, as soon as you say those words, they're a couple of crooks, a couple of frauds and all this kind of stuff, and it's very difficult. And I find it often helps to be able to say, well, it used to be taught in schools, you know, they didn't invent this. This isn't something just pulled out of nowhere and made up these ideas. This used to be the history. This isn't alternative. It's authentic history, okay? So we got in here some references to King Arthur in the book. All right, and then we got Tumalai. And then what I'm going to do then is read something about, from the back of this book. It's not very long, but just a little passage because it was all new to me, and I'm sure it shouldn't be new to me. I should know it. I put my hands in the air. I didn't. And that's the amount of Welsh resistance that went on way after the Norman conquest. Because we had a request, well, from Arnie particularly, wasn't it, saying that, so you're sharing things behind 30 seconds after I say them, which is a bit weird. But he was saying all this ancient stuff all the time, Babylonians and stuff, which is fascinating. Can we have a break for now a little bit and do some more modern stuff? So, right up to after the Norman invasion. And some of the key things it shows in here are, first of all, how many of the forts that are just called Norman Motte and Bailey castles were pre-Norman or British, and some actually remain British or Welsh right up to, 1300 and onwards. So, quite surprising. Oh, finger in the air.
Is that meant to be on the screen or not?
No, you're okay.
Ah, good.
You're okay. Yeah, that's not meant to be on the screen. Good. So what I was going to do, right, just flick over. So while we're doing, this is interesting topics and conversations on the Facebook group. Yes, there's David Ryan, and that's where losses come from. Very well put. If it was a bit nearer, I could read it, I'd read it. As David Ryan says here, some interesting topics and conversation on the Facebook group. Full of great info. If you're not signed up, you're missing out. And he's right, because I know a lot of Facebook gets quite rowdy and pleasant, and people get very aggressive. It's not the case in the Britain's Hidden History group, okay? Very careful about that. It's very polite. Different opinions are welcome, as long as you have an open mind and you're open to see other points of view as well. Don't come there just to have the mainstream history repeated, or if that's what you want to do. That's not what it's about. And it's good fun, and that's where a lot of the ideas come from for this Sunday night show. So, without further ado, let's crack on. And if you've got any questions, please put them in there. Arnie will jot them down for me, or just nudge me or something.
Yep.
And we'll have some questions. Good. Questions are always good. And, oh yeah, can I just do one little thing here? This is a little, just, while I think people are still logging on. Excellent. I'm going to read a little poem that's in here as well, which I thought was rather nice. It's about Sir John Stradling of St. Donnet's Castle wrote the following poem in 1620. Some of the words are spelt rather funnily, but I'm sure you'll be able to understand them all. It is a book for school children. It's beautifully written. I wish our books were more like this now. For everything that Britain fords is here in plenty great. Of everything that man can wish to wear and drink and eat. And in Glamorgan plenty dwells, and keepeth crowded court. And to her gates the wantsome may from everywhere resort. The whitened bread and barley ale here is in wondrous store, and fatted flesh of sheep and kine no land produceth more. And in Glamorgan's hilly parts coal greatly doth abound, for goodness and for plenty too, its equal ne'er was found. With wood and iron, lead and salt, and lime abundantly, and everything that mankind want, this land doth well supply. It's great stuff. There's a couple of poems in here and things like that, and I think it's excellent. Right, but first of all, we're going to do, before we get on to that, and some of the Glamorgan history, here's an interesting one, which has actually been spotted by 2 people on the Facebook group. I think Alan Haughton might have put it up first, or Richard Davis, but they both come across this. And, oh my goodness, it's Llantarnam Abbey. Gosh, I didn't make any notes where it was. It's around the back of Llantarnam Abbey. So this is a bit of a viewer challenge, because, I don't know, have a good look at that and see what you think that might represent. I'm interested to see on the comments what people come up with. I don't really want to suggest anything. I've got some ideas in my mind, but I find as soon as you suggest an idea to someone, everyone's going to either see it or not see it, and it could be something completely different, you know? I've had this before. You look at a hieroglyph and you can't decide if it's a dog or a wolf, and it turns out it's a table. You know what I mean? You don't want to get influenced at all. Just look at it. It could be from above, it could be from the side, it could be writing, it could just be a dawdle. Anyway, have a look. Okay, so we'll have a look at that one. So thank you very much for that. Because I'm trying to remember all the things that was written about it, but I'm very interested to get some more feedback on it. The point is, this is looking at, this could be very ancient, could be pre-Christian, this area. Or it's pre-Roman church anyway, so wonder what that could be, okay? Right, now, one of the other articles we had a good chat about this week, and I'll have to copy that into the description so you can have a look yourself, was actually there's a couple of articles, I need to put them both up, a couple of papers talking about how the amount of archaeological evidence to show that the roads do actually predate the Romans. You know, the whole thing, what did the Romans ever do for us? And one of the things, everyone always assumes that the roads are Roman. And it was absolutely fascinating to read about this, because there's been so much archaeology about it. I had no idea. Along the A1, you can see some of the pictures, you can see whole layers of the road. There's the road next to it, we can see the Roman layers and before that. And what fascinated me looking through this article, which I hadn't realised before. Oh, my cat's come say hello. Hello, Mimi.
Ah, she wants to go away.
Swallows, you think I'm a witch or a wizard? Oh, here's my black cat, okay. You're not for a cuddle, are you? You're not in the mood for cuddle. There we are, fair enough. Little madam she is. So, there's the main Roman names, okay. Watling Street, Ermine Street, the Fosse Way, and the Iconfield Way. And what you find, I want to do a longer talk about this, probably a video just about this, is a lot of these names are actually derived from the old British names that predate the Romans. Another area, we've got some people in the group as well now who are actual archaeologists. I got a couple of people there from Museum of London Archaeology, so that's good. Hang on, I'm going to turn this phone off. Have you been awkward? If that suddenly goes. Yep, I thought there was a message saying it's gone wrong. I think we're okay. And you can go through that, because some of these in London as well. And the other thing which ties in with this archaeology is that right down below ground, 26 feet down, are stone walls which clearly predate the Roman period as well. And in London, according to Wrighton, Wilson and Blackett, and I've seen it in other places, you've got evidence of Lud. And of course, Lud being Ludgate in London. So this is a really interesting area on the roads. And the way they seem to build them, looking at the archaeology and the reports, is they be curved, so the water ran off. So quite often you'd have ditches on the sides as well. And they'd be covered by a sort of mud, and then quickly branches and trees would set in to bind everything together. Then gravel, and then cobblestone, stuff like that. So they were quite sophisticated roads. It's quite amazing what they did, really. You got a black cat too. Thank you, Finky Stingers. Here we go. Hang on. Sorry, I've just lost Arnie for a second. I don't know where he's gone. Get me a cup of tea, hopefully. We'll have a cup of tea tonight. So this is the kind of discussions we're having on the Facebook group. I'd love you to join in, and we could talk an hour or two just about the Roman roads. And what this ties in, where I mentioned Caleb as well, is amazing how you can read something. Hang on, before I get distracted by that. It's amazing how you can read something many times, okay? Now, there's not much dispute about the British having chariots, and people mention that Caesar talks about the chariots. Maybe this is a link to show that the migration from Troy, from Anatolia to Britain. And it's a piece of evidence. But one of the things we mentioned a few weeks ago, if you're here, and it's in the archaeological report, which is up on my shelves somewhere, is that there's lots of evidence has been found, at least in southeast Wales, and I can only imagine there's more of it in England because it'd be even more prominent there, are traces of wheeled vehicles. Not just chariots, other vehicles. So clearly, some sort of wheeled vehicles, where they're wagons or something like that, or even, I don't know, wagons, carts, isn't it? To move the goods around, and roads have been an advantage for doing that. And one of the things is sort of applied to logic, saying, well, why would you bother building all these wheeled vehicles if you don't have roads? And then he's saying, a discussion with Caleb and that, saying, well, they can go cross-country. They're in the battles, and they drive around. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dipping in my cup of tea. Thank you very much. Well, they would say, well, we weren't saying that this it's only roads, but, roads would be useful. And then, fair play, Mr. Howells, well done. He spotted this counts, and this is what I'm saying. This is something I've read. How many times I've read this? I know the passage. It's very well known. It's from Caesar's own writing about the Gallic Wars. Look at this. It says here, Cassivelanus, as you have stated above, all hope rising out of battle being laid aside, the greater part of his forces being dismissed. So he's talking about the British, right? The British have sent their guys home for the winter. This is something Alan Wilson talks about a lot. It shows you Caesar got his butt kicked, all right? The rest of the British army's gone home for the winter, and they're going to leave these 4,000 charioteers around just to make it a nightmare. Because if you send small numbers out to forage for food, they're going to get attacked. And if you send large numbers out, well, what's the point of foraging, you know? So anyway, so about 4,000 charioteers only being left, used to observe our marches and retire a little from the road. From the road. And conceal himself in intricate and woody places. So yes, chariots could go in woods and whatever kind of places. But even in Caesar's own words, it does mention roads. As Callis says there, notice the reference to the road. Then a few lines down, Caesar said, this is the British general, or king, used to send out charioteers from the woods by all the well-known roads and paths. So evidently a number of what Caesar describes as roads, separate and distinct to what he describes as paths. Top work, Caleb. Well done. So he's got a book out as well. He's had the book out for a while, and it's in my collection of Arthur books. I'll give him a quick plug. I'm not doing a review of the book now, but there he is. Caleb Howells, right? And I think it's from Amazon or directly from Caleb, I think. I should put some details up here. You'll find the book. Caleb Howells, unusual name. Alright, and there's the book. Okay. So there you go. I have reviewed it on previous shows, I think. Alright, so that's brilliant work, him. Well done there. So that's the kind of discussion you see on the Facebook group. It's very kind of... well, it's nice. It's informative. And there's a lot of people there who don't contribute at all. And I say, come on and contribute. And they say to me, no, we're quite happy just reading the comments. We learn a lot from it. So as much as I encourage everyone to chip in and join in, if you just want to see what's going on, it's a very pleasant atmosphere. It's very family friendly, no swearing and nastiness. Kian Books, that's the thing I typed in earlier, wasn't it? How are we doing? We're actually on time for once, Arnie. No, we're not.
25 past.
25 past, excellent. Thank you, Arnie. Right, because I didn't actually get the email from Steve, Mr. Willets in my... who's halfway up a hill when he called me, and he's out walking. And the miles he covers, I am very impressed. Right, so... thank you for that. Right, what I'm going to try and do now is do this from a couple of notes and from memory. Because this is where I need viewer help. I was going to put some maps up and everything, so you're going to have to take my word for it on a little bit of Welsh geography. Very near to where I am, actually, about 3 miles away. Is a place called, we've all heard of Pontypridd, I think. Pontypridd. What I could do here is type things in as I go, couldn't I? There we go, it's going to be a disaster. But I also know that people have a bit of trouble, especially people from across the world, with some of these Welsh names, which I think sound quite natural, because I've been saying them all my life, haven't I? So I'll have Pontypridd here, Pontypridd. Okay, and then, because just outside it, we've got a place called... Whoa! I noticed the red light had gone off. Sorry about that. There's about 100 messages now saying, where's the sound gone? Alright. Okay, sorry about that, folks. I must have accidentally pulled it out. You could probably see it, and I couldn't. Right, so near Pontypridd...
No, we can't see the mic, no.
Oh, you can't see the mic. Oh, well, there we are. There's Trehafod. Now, if you look into Welsh here, Hafod is a reference to summer. Okay, now what which also ties in then. If you're looking at this is tying in again with the Babylonian star signs, all right? If you also look, we've got Leo. And this is interesting because where Pontypridd is only about 2 miles, 3 miles maybe from where the lion's stone is that we talk about. You know, the Lion of Judea, the big stone in the field, pointing towards Tuiniglo, and it's a bull where I think the Ark of the Covenant's buried. So it's or concealed, I should say, rather than buried. Or at least it was. I'm not sure if it's there anymore.
Apparently they didn't catch what you said. It said the sound had gone after you said a place called...
Right, okay. Well, that's what I'm covering back again now. So if you're looking up at the star signs, the constellations, what Steve is trying to do at the moment is piece them all together to create a complete constellation, and it's going really well. We need a help on one of them. Because Leo, and the names get slightly different in Babylonian, but anyway, the point is, it's the summer one, okay? Same as in our modern star signs, Leo's in the summer, isn't it? It's August before Virgo. So you've got Leo representing the summer, and if you look up, if you're plotting all this on the map, it starts to freak you out a bit. Because you have this place called Tri Hafod. Whoop, and Hafod, don't do that to me, can't click it. And Hafod, so this is a town of the summer. It's beyond coincidence now, it's getting ridiculous, okay? The next place along is a place called Cumma. Alright, it's going to look a bit messy because I'm going to have to type this on the screen. Otherwise people aren't going to know what I mean. Sorry about this, a little bit scruffy, but it'll work. Insert, you can watch me fiddling around. Okay, let's go big. So we've got a place near here called Cumma. Alright, now the significance of Cumma is this ties in with twins, with Gemini. Now if you look at your list of star signs, you've got Taurus, then it's Gemini, then Cancer, then Leo, okay? Now Cumma is in the right place. Cumma matches. Cumma matches with the idea of the twins, the stars above and on the ground, the place names, the Welsh place names matching with the Babylonian, so it's really quite freaky. What Steve's asking, though, and if we could put this out to request, is there what we're looking for is something then that will tie in with, there should be a crab or some sort of Cancer or something between the two. Yeah, that's the star sign. That should be between the twins and Leo. Although it's the Babylonian one, so it could be a little bit different. But at the moment, he'd like to try and find that. So people have some thoughts about that. Because one of the things where it gets very interesting is when it says crab in our thinking, it could also be a turtle, which I found quite interesting. Being a big Terry Pratchett fan, I don't know if other people are as well. Let's go put that back up there. If you're a Terry Pratchett if you're a Terry Pratchett fan, you know the world's actually flat, and it's a disc. That's why it's called Discworld. His books, and his books are very, very clever. You learn a lot from them. All right, and I'd highly recommend them. Not just because they're hilariously funny, they also got a lot of very, very clever stuff in them. And I studied a lot of economics, and that's the best book ever, Making Money and Going Postal, how to learn how economics really works, and how currencies work, and how banking works. Trust me, they're the books to read. Forget your 3-year degrees. Anyway, so you've got the flat disc world, held up by 4 elephants, and underneath is the great turtle, which I think is called Antuin in his books.
Oh, here's one of them.
Oh, here's one here. Here's a book. Oh, thank you, Arnie.
You're just here.
Have a little look at the back, see if it mentions in the front somewhere about Discworld and the great, I think it's Antuin. Yeah, Mummy reads them as well, doesn't she? Well, the point being, anyway, that they're the turtle. So we think of a turtle or a crab. So if you could think of the Welsh words, and what's the word he's got for it here?
Discord.
Yeah, I've got it right. Yeah, well done, me. So what he calls you, set on Discworld, which is flat and supported on the backs of 4 elephants, which travel through space on the shell of the great Atuin. I got it right. Amazing. A''Tuin, which is the world turtle. Now, Terry Pratchett doesn't make this kind of stuff up, all right? I know it's there's connections. This is where it gets really interesting to me. So if we can tie in the turtle, if you know, I think Terry Pratchett got his ideas from Peru, on the Aztecs or the Incas, where they have this idea of the world on the back of a turtle. I'm sure there's people there on the comments who know more about this. Can you scroll down a second?
I'm at the bottom.
All right, thank you. They will know more about that. But anyway, if you can find a Welsh connection with that, that'd be really good. Because it might also just be Babylon itself as the place. And one of the things I also want to ask you to look for is group projects, getting more and more people involved, right? Steve's been doing his own for years, and he's already tying up now with Rob, who's been doing similar work, getting Tim in on the words, other people as well. There's lots and lots and lots. We've got at least 12 major areas of projects going on at the same time. I mean, I'm spread so thin you can see through me. We need people going down and doing all the projects, okay? And this is great. So if you want to get more and more involved, this is a living subject. This isn't reading dusty old books. Actually, I'm going to read a dusty old book right now. Yeah, know what I mean. Right, okay. Before I jump into that, what was I going to talk about then? Right, okay. So hopefully, because to me this is so exciting. Oh, I should say, for those who haven't watched before, welcome, for one. Where have you been? And that's not fair, because people are joining all the time. And we only just passed 1,000 last week, and now it's 1,050, so it's picking up speed. I just want to do just a little bit of background in case you're new to the subject, and just to explain as a recap. All around South Wales, and I think this repeated throughout other parts of Britain, but not quite to the same level, for reasons I'll give in a second. You will see these mounds, and if you go on the list of videos, you'll see Mounds 101, to give you an idea, because it's burial mounds and different types of mounds, okay? But what's curious is, the mounds are not just randomly placed. If you plot them out, the mounds, and look at them on a map, they actually match with a map of the stars. I know, it's freaky, right? All these mounds, two upside down, and there's all the constellations worked out. And there's people like Dixie and Darren, who were just plotting all these, and Rob, and it's just fantastic, okay? So, where it starts to freak your brain out a bit, mind, is that nearly all the mounds are on top of hills. So how on earth do you have a situation where the hills match the stars? That's huge, isn't it? That is huge. Have a think about it. The hills, the arrangement of the hills on the ground is the same as the arrangement of the stars in the sky. I have no rational explanation for it. I've got 4 or 5 irrational ones. No rational ones. So this is why it's a big subject. Where it gets even more freaky, this subject, is that the Welsh records and the works that Alan Wilson and Blackett have looked into, I'm going to do more books on, is about the migrations about 1500 BC. 15, 1600 seems to vary a little bit. Which is the Alpine migrations from are supposed to come to Britain. And the curious thing is, if you take the Babylonian names of the Welsh towns, like Caerphilly and Trehafod and all these places, they fit in with the Babylonian constellations. And if you're not aware of it already, my book Cymroglyphics picks up on this work, shows you how you can read hieroglyphs using the Welsh language. Because Welsh apparently is some ancient Babylonian language, ancient Assyrian language. Which, that freaks me out. Idea of people wandering around the pyramids saying Yaki Darbat, how's it, Beoiti and all that kind of stuff. So, it's a little bit mind-blowing, that one. But, yeah, that's just one. There's 12 different lots going on. Romans, Normans, we've got all sorts of stuff happening, okay? So please get involved. You won't be disappointed. There's stacks to do, and it's very interesting. Right, okay. Oh, yeah. Now then, I want to just do... I made my notes. Right. Okay, now then, like I said, I want to do this on other counties as well. Glamorgan's obviously my local interest, and I just happen to have... What started this chain of events running was that I found, and sadly, my parents both passed away earlier this year. A bit difficult time. And while clearing out their house, I found this old book, which is falling apart. And then I saw Richard Davis, who's, I call him a druid. I mean, he's not officially a druid, but he's a wonderful spiritual person. He helped me a lot through the whole process, and we went through chatting about things. And Leon, he's the one who set up the Archaeological Society Cumbrae. Oops, sorry. I did have this ready earlier. There we go. A man after my own heart in every way. He went to the trouble of setting up, let's get the name right, Ancient Cumbrae Society, where he got funding, set up a trust. They did proper archaeological digs, proper reports. He had 150 volunteers at one point. It's the kind of stuff we want to do. As soon as the lockdown's done, let's be out there getting our own digs going. And set up a trust. We can start doing things. And one of his favourite books is The Story of Gwent, which I'm going to try and do next week, because again, it's very interesting. So that opened up this sort of Pandora's box of these. I'd heard already that the syllabus all got changed in the 1920s, and the BBC came along and just rewrote history again. I mean, it's been rewritten all the time. But this was like the chance to do everything, and they did. And the weird thing is, when you sit down, millions of these books must be in circulation, almost impossible to find originals. So this Guian Books is saving us, okay? So there we are. Slight, just give a background there. What I want to mention is there's so much stuff in here I didn't know at all. And it's quite a while since I went to school, and I don't think my children's are being taught any of it. No. So why aren't we being taught Glamorgan history and local history? And I think it's almost like the only thing you get taught is the misery of the coal mines, all right? And the industry, which is part of this book as well. Let's not pretend it's not. But there are other things. Now, I'll give some examples here. So the Rhondda, right, okay, is a busy and thickly peopled district now. And from what has been discovered in recent years, it must have been the home of many people long before history began to be written. The remains of what are thought to have been prehistoric towns have been found on the mountainside above Blaen Rhondda and on the Gelli mountain above Llwyn y Pier. I got friends in Gelli, right, and Llwyn y Pier. I got there a lot, okay? So my father ended up in Llwyn y Pier. People in that area feel as though they've just been dumped in the deep end of nowhere, okay? It's a very depressed kind of area. And it's important people like that, for those areas, and my areas, I'm not, trying to patronise anybody. If you've got no past and no knowledge of what you've done in the past, you lose your self-respect. Does anyone know the saying for Pontypridd? Pontypridd is an unusual town. It's got its own saying. And the saying is very sad. I used to think it was quite funny. Now I think it's very sad. And the saying is, Pontypridd, a town with no history, but a hell of a past. That's the attitude. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It sounds funny. It is funny. And you realise how sad it is, because there's stacks of history, and it's just been written out, okay? So the old town above Blaen Rhondda has been named Hen Dre Mynydd, the old town of the mountain, and the name given to the other is Hen Dre Gelli, the old town of Gelli. Some of these names are retranslating, by the way, but anyway, not to worry. The most perfect and imposing. The remains consist of hut sites and of burying places enclosed within stone circles. Now, is anyone up in the valleys up in Rhondda? It's in RCT, so I can come up as well. Know where these places are now, and if there's anything left, or have they been destroyed in the last 100 years. So I want to go up there and record these places if it's not too late. In the former, cooking stones and hearthstones were traced, and the signs of fire in the form of charcoal was found. Stones used in household work, flint scrapers and arrowheads, and many other flakes of flint were also brought to light. The sites and enclosures have since been covered over, but their positions are well known. Now, there's a mysterious hunt, isn't it? I've got friends up in Gelli. Gatch, get your buddies up there. Track it down, alright? And if anyone else out there knows and wants to go and have a look, that'd be wonderful, alright? So I thought that was interesting. It was still being talked about in, 1908 this is written, 1920. Right, what's the next thing I want to point out? Oh, yeah. A similar one again. This is very near to me. So Llantrisant. Anybody from Llantrisant or wants to travel and prepared to have a look? I was going to put some maps up to give people a better idea of the geography. And look at a map of South Wales now. Llantrisant, Church of the Three Saints, which is supposed to be Illtyd, Treforwg and Gwynno, okay? 3 of the founding saints around here. Anyway, so the river Ely. Llantrisant's a key point. You've got the Ely and the Taff, and that's kind of Arthur's butt. It always gets a laugh. Arthur's buttresses, his fortresses. And it's near where Rhys-Saeson. So anyway, for a few miles it flows, the Ely this is, in a southerly direction among the hills, but at Llantrisant runs through a pass of great beauty and boldness into the upper portion of the vale. On Garth Maelwg, which stands on the right bank of the river, are 3 huge cairns. Now, the cairns are the stone, well, it could be a stone circle or something, it's not specific here. These are supposed to mark the site of a fierce battle fought between the Welsh and the Saxons, the dead being buried beneath them. On the hills on the other bank of the river is a large Roman camp. Well, whether or not it's Roman is a dispute maybe, but I do want to mention, we carry on there. The pass also made it possible for any Welsh who had been driven... I jumped a bit. By means of the pass through which the River Ely, enters the low ground, invading armies were able to make their way into the hilly district of the north. The pass also made it possible for any Welsh who had been driven to the hills to sweep down on enemies that had settled in the land to the south. You've got a ridge of hills around South Wales, and that's one of the passes, basically. It can be seen that the defence of this pass was an important matter. The Welsh had a fortress here. And after the Normans had conquered the country, they, in a very short time, took this and built one of their strong castles on the spot. So I say there was a Welsh fortress, and then came the Norman fortress. Now what you see in this, there's more then about the Miskin area and more forts. There's another castle here, Llantrisant Castle, formerly a place of great strength and importance. During the Norman period, it was only second to Cardiff. Only a few walls now remain, and I found out from the locals that's what they use a lot of the stone to make Castle Corch. But the first castle here, built here, said to have been the work of Gwrgan, Prince of Glamorgan. But it was repaired, if not rebuilt, after the Norman conquest. It's not known when the castle was destroyed, but it's most likely this took place during Owain Glyndwr's raid into the county. So again, you got a situation where if you drive around now, I have never seen any the plaques, the plaques they put on the poles. There's one in Tontig, Norman, Mott and Bailey Castle. Norman. Roman. I still haven't seen a sign that says Welsh Castle or Welsh Fort. What's going on there? Why isn't why the reluctance to stick that on there? Oh, by the way, is that the cairn you're on about? No, it's a cromlech, that is. Cromlech, if you don't know it, crom means roof. So, a stone forming a roof. That's a cromlech. A cairn, as they call it here, is more like a 2-in probably, with stones on it. But all these definitions are a little bit vague, alright? There's another example here, and this backs up something Wilson and Blackett were claiming. Now, they've had loads of stick for talking about the Arthur Stone, or the Arthmile Stone at Ogmore Castle. Ogmore's down on the south coast, alright? I'm getting better at my geography doing this. And they say it's a load of nonsense and whatever, and he gets a load of stick. It's stuff he's made up, alright? What's it say about Margam Castle? Yeah, I'll have a look for a second. Where's Margam? I'm going to do something about Margam. Anyway, there's another interesting one here. So, William de Londres, who received this lordship at the conquest, built this castle on the site of a British fortress. So it does say there that it was there. Not only that, in 1094 the castle was attacked by the Welsh under the Norman Lord of Coity. Coity is very important. I've shot a video last summer with Stephen Pidgeon and a couple of other people, and I'll show you Coity Castle because it's fascinating and it's told the story in here. It's not only stories. Wilson and Blackett have not made it up because it's in this book, which is about 80 years before Wilson and Blackett wrote it down. Okay. Because well, the situation with Coity, I'll just say quickly, I think his name is Fitzhammon. Don't quote me on that. When the Normans did their double dealing in 1094, what happened was there was a civil war going on in Wales. Two major factions, Glamorgan and Deheubarth, were fighting away. Rhys was on one side. I should get the names, they're all in here. There's a battle going on. So one side brought in some Norman mercenaries, or paid the Normans to come and help on his side. So they fought this battle, and the Norman side, they helped him win. So he paid them off, and they left. And then accounts differ, because when Wilson of Blackett tell a story, the Normans sneaked back in because they'd seen how fertile the land was. In this book, it's more a case that they could see the fighting was going on between the two Welsh lords, and the promises weren't kept. And the weather was bad. The winds drove them back on shore. Anyway, whichever way you cut it, they ended up coming in and taking the Cardiff Castle by stealth. In this book, it says some of the locals are so cheesed off with Rhys, I think his name was, they actually helped the Normans. So there you go. So the details are vague, but the point was it wasn't done by open battle conquest. It was kind of a sneaky night attack while the forces had been dispersed after thinking they'd already won. God, that was a long way around, wasn't it? So they all got a little chunk. All his Norman mates got a chunk of the lowlands. And the other thing I hadn't realised, part of this mercenary Norman force, it says in here, were Welsh. And they got allocated land as well, particularly in the uplands and the valleys and the hills. So it wasn't a case that the Normans took all of it. Some was given to the Welsh, some was given to the Normans. And one bloke, I should check it, shouldn't I? I think it's Fitzhammon. Anyway, he missed out. So he was told, well, if you want some land, go out and take some. So he went up to Coity Castle, which hadn't been taken yet. And the famous thing, and there's a lovely picture in here, where the Lord of Coity Castle steps out with a naked sword in one hand and his daughter in the other. I don't know if she was naked, it doesn't say. And so the idea was, you can either fight for the castle or you can marry into the castle. And they chose to marry in. Now, because he'd taken that by his own volition, it was never part of the kingdom. Because that was his own personal conquest. It wasn't given to him by William or by any of his lackeys who were in Glamorgan. So it was tax-free for a long time. It's got a very interesting status. Now, I think there was something, everything is in it. This brick's great. It's got St. Patrick and the different castles and stuff like that. There's a lot in here about Markham as well. I'm sorry I haven't answered the question specifically. If the first migration came in 1650, it'd be too late to be megalithic. Yeah, I don't think... Oh, by megalithic, you mean the building of the massive stones? Well, I'd love to get into that subject. We'll definitely have to do that another session. I go against the grain on this one here, because I know a place like Gultepi, Tekle, I always get to say it wrong, when they're supposed to be 14,000, 15,000 years old. I don't think any of these places are anywhere near as old as people claim. I know it's a controversial view. I reckon Gultepi Teki may be 1,000 BC maximum. And it could well fit in with the migrations even. It could be 600 BC. There's no good dating method for these stones. I know people like to throw them into distant times and the technology. I don't think it's even that difficult to do. Maybe we were going to build a pyramid last summer, weren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we should have to do that. I didn't want to write off the whole patio. The idea is to have 3 young lads who could actually put these massive stones in place and build a pyramid. We will do it. Most fun in the winter, plus we do it anyway. We can cover the area, couldn't we? And you can see some of the stones will be, I know, will be enormous. I mean, we've only got a small garden, but you can see a couple of 9-year-olds moving a half a ton.
How?
How? Yeah, how?
Wheels?
How? Wheels, yeah, I see. See, I've told you the method, yeah? Don't say anything. This is my big discovery how they did this, alright? Don't say anything.
They do it
Did I give you a few clues already? Because that was my big reveal. I lost a bit of motivation because I was booked in to speak at Megalithomania this year and do a piece with Alan Wilson and stuff like that, which would have been fantastic, and I was really looking forward to it. And then right at the end of the speech, where we're going to talk about... Okay, what are we going to talk about? Anyway. Oh, I think it was the hieroglyphics, how you can read hieroglyphics and all that kind of stuff, which would be a pretty major thing. And in the last 5 minutes of the speech, I was going to drop in, oh, by the way, I know the megalithic walls and the pyramids are built. And here's a picture of one I've done, and maybe we'll talk about it next year. And there's going to be a massive tease at the live speech, and I've just done the same tease again, haven't I? So I'd forgotten about that. How could I forget about something like that? We got loads of big stuff going on, haven't we? Worked out how the flood happened and all sorts of things. And how there were people here thousands of years ago. Anyway, I'm sure someone's going to be very upset about this idea that... There we go, to Turbeville. Thank you very much. It was to Turbeville, yeah. Coity Castle, thank you very much. They wanted to marry into the ancestors of Arthur. Yeah, quite possibly. Oh, great comments. Thank you very much, Lego and Mandy. Patricia. Carved turtles. Ah, yes, Patricia. You are spot on. Yeah, the turtle at Tintagel. Ah, see, I'm not on my notebook computer. I could pull up there. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, that's mentioned in the new... Patricia's helping again with the editing and their proofing on the new Britain's Hidden Christianity, which I'm hoping goes to print this week. Okay? And then it'll be available for pre-sale. I don't want to go through the stress we had with Trojan War, right? I'm taking the orders and suddenly there's a delay for some reason. I want to wait till the button's pressed and the books are due back. But that book is done. Just layout. I've just got to do the layout and put some more pictures in, and that's it, okay? And thank you to those who contributed pictures to it. In particular, Steve Pole, I think, sent me some. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. And Good Grandy, who's Ellis, who sent me wonderful pictures of the burial site of Jesus and all sorts of things. So look out for that book. It'll be out very soon. The point that Patricia's mentioning is in Tintagel, there's a turtle scratched onto a rock with letters in Colburn, the ancient Welsh writing, which doesn't exist, of course. And if you read it one way, it tells you about the crucifixion, and if it tells you the other way, it tells you about how he survived afterwards. And that's a turtle. It's very true, actually. Yeah, turtle's significant. Anyway, have a think about that. Can help with the Babylonian thing, all right? So, what are we going there? So, the myth of no Welsh thoughts. We've done that one. Ogmore, we've done that one. Oh, yeah, page 86. I almost missed this one. Oh, no, where's the Arthur mention as well? Oh, I didn't mark that. Thank you, Arnie. I think we're doing very well this week. Right, another one. This you'll have. A couple of weeks ago, I put up a video about the money of Baden. I put a couple up, actually. And it was me and Robert Pierce, Legolas. And who else was there that day? Tim. Oh, Tim's always there. Hiya, Tim. Hope you're watching. And just the three of us, I think. Oh, no. David was over with his drone and Steve Pole. Anyway, that was a while ago. The point is, if you read the Wilson and Blackett books, you'll see them talk about Battle of Money of Baden. No one knows where it is, and his theories. Some people say Scotland, South Coast, down Dorset, West Country, near Bath is Chris Barber's view. But they say the best thing to do is get a map and look for the place called Money of Baden, right, which is there. Still called Baden, although there's no Ystad Baden. It's changed to the town of Baden on the hill. But apart from that, you can still see it. And they're pretty confident. And the usual situation, unfortunately, we get is it's having a proper, intelligent, grown-up conversation about it. Yeah, those bunch of crooks. They just make this stuff up, this load of rubbish, just because the name's the same. This book, right, 1908? Some men think, which is their lazy way of not doing references in this school book, but anyway, some men think that here was fought in 522 the famous battle between King Arthur and the Saxons, known as the Battle of Mount Baden. The date, by the way, 32. We want to add 30 years on that to allow for their Welsh church dating as opposed to Roman church dating. But there we are. This was taught in school, 1908. I admit it doesn't say this definitely was here, because how could you be definite? But what it does also show in this book, which is... Hang on. Oh, there's so much to copy in here. But anyway, what it does show in here as well is you can see the battlements and they've actually drawn it. And you can see quite a bit has gone missing since then. Oh no, I can't see the drawings of it. I thought it was here. So another party here as well, which is wonderful. It actually does mention King Arthur, and not in a willy-washy way either. Which page? Don't write the page down. Oh no. Anyway, I can remember the quote, because in here it says there's a lot of wonderful deeds and stories have been written about King Arthur, some of which are not true. But isn't it wonderful to think that King Arthur was actually a king of Glamorgan? So how cool is that, eh? So it doesn't put any doubt in it in here. It puts some doubt over some of the stories, some of the things he's supposed to have achieved, the legends and myths. But the historical Arthur is from Glamorgan says in this book, and this is what they used to teach in school, okay? We've got stuff like the Bodvik Stone. Oh, here we go. Anyway, Antiquity of the County is what I want to get to. Alright, almost there now. So there's different crosses, and it talks about the writing on them. It's tragic what we've lost. Here's another battle camp. This is near Margam. Someone was just asking about Margam on the comments. I hope people can see that. I'm just going to read some comments while people are seeing that. People from Cymru and Syria mentioned in page 2021 the Trojan War. Perhaps there may be a connection from Kimmer. Yeah, it could be, couldn't it? There's something special about Tintagel. There is something special about Tintagel, yes. It's a spiritual place. I think it's more like the walls and everything. It's clearly not military, though. This idea of it was a big castle where an Uther Pendragon stormed in to marry or whatever with Arthur's mother, and that's how he was born. I wouldn't go with any of that side of it. And if you Wilson and Blackett's, for example, when was named Gunnar Two-Faced, isn't it, on? When he gets before Arthur. When they go down to Cornwall, they invade Cornwall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you remember that story?
Irish.
Yeah, he was in agreement with
and he was unceremoniously cut in half by...
Yes, you remember that bit, didn't you? Yeah, I think it was not Constantine, it was the other one.
Yeah, Constantine.
And then Constantine came and split him down through the shoulders.
No, with an axe.
With an axe.
Up the other way, then.
Oh, the other way, and up through his arm. And... Yeah. Oh, thanks, Arnie. I'm glad you remembered all the details. Charming for a bedtime story reading. If you can't get your children to sleep, read them some of the death scenes in Walking. My goodness. Anyway, so you can see there, you've got camps, and here's another one which I thought was interesting, worth seeing. This is where Lego is, and this is where we're going to brave the weather and maybe have a look in a couple of days' time. Go up to this camp up by Carai, which always says I say it wrong. Oh, hang on, we got Taliesin. I know who that is. Yeah. Lawrence, the people of Cumberland's... Yeah, sorry, that's the one I just read. Okay. So all these ditches and all this stuff we're doing now. Now, the reason I'm going through all this tonight, and it's a long way round, and I'm making a bit of a meal of it, is to say that all the things we're doing now used to be known. It used to be accepted. It's not magic stuff that's made up. It's bizarre. People knew about this one. I mean, my family's lived in Abercynon for how many generations, so hello, anybody from there. Neil should be watching. I haven't heard from Neil a couple of days, my cousins and everything. Right, a little bit round by Margam. All this stuff's by Margam, by the way. It doesn't mention Margam Castle, I don't think. Not the castle. I don't remember someone just asked a question. I think the book's well worth getting. Have a look yourself anyway. That sounded rude, didn't it? What I meant was it's worth having your own copy. There's a bit more polite way of saying it.
Have a look yourself.
Have a look yourself. Get a copy. You're relying on me all the time. No, it's I'd highly recommend this book. Anyway, this now the castle dishes near Fonmon have features which I can see the comments now, can't I? Which show them to have been a British make. So you got the ditches, you got castles, it's all in here. While a small camp made by the Britons stands on the high ground. Now this is interesting here, between the confluence of the Taff and the Cunnan near Navigation. Well, Navigation's the old name for Abercynon, okay? And this exact spot is where my cousin Neil has a property. It's a home. So, where's it now, eh? If it was visible, you could see it in 1908. My family's been there forever. Played there I didn't play much over there, but a bit as a child, my cousins. What's happened to all these places? When did it disappear? Another British camp is situated on the hills above Treorchy. So I don't know, because there's some comments there. What do you think the way forward is here? Do you think we should have everyone try and... Shall I make a list of all these places on here that I don't know where they are anymore? I mean, and get people to try and find them? Yeah, I don't know. Disney did a film called The Spaceman King Arthur. Yeah, I think I saw that when I was a child in Pontypridd. And there's my collection of Arthur books. Because it's based on... Oh no, it's not there. I think it is there, but I haven't got time to see it now. It's based on the Mark Twain story about King Arthur, Connecticut, or a cowboy from Connecticut, whatever you call a Connecticut person, and King Arthur, where a cowboy goes back, and Disney changed it into a spaceman. It's quite a funny film. And what was interesting to me is that Mark Twain chose a Kentucky of all the states. And whereas, of course, if you look at people like Lee Pennington, hopefully can watch, who's done so much great work with Alan Wilson over the years, and keeping it going. The ancient society of Kentucky, of course, is where the British are supposed to have migrated to. So why did Mark Twain choose Kentucky out of all the states in America he could have chosen? There we go. But that's where the spaceman of King Arthur comes into it. The Brutes of England even say Arthur returned to Britain to be crowned King of Glamorgan. Yeah, it's really well recorded. The straight edges west figures. Okay. David. Guten Tag, David. Sorry, Chris, not variations of the same idea of the measure. Tom and others see the M yard, that's the megalithic yard I think he's referring to, as a fraction of the rotation circumference of the planet. Yeah, I think the cubit is an average the elbow to the thumb, isn't it? Oh, he's got thumb. Oh, it could be thumb. Makes sense. I thought it was the middle of here, but same sort of thing. Dovery crowned him at Caerleon. Yeah, you see how people know this stuff. People know this stuff. Thank you. Alan Rees, yes. Benny Babbles is here. Hey, Benny. Excellent. Yeah, he's Aberdare boy. You've been told about the settlement above Treorchy. Well, if you can work out where it is, you are the man for this job, Benny. You know everybody in Aberdare, and everybody in Aberdare knows Benny. Spread the word and Treorchy and ask them, see if anyone knows where it is now. And we'll get up there. It might be completely buried, but at least it might still be there, isn't it? What?
Exactly 60 minutes.
Okay, alright. Okay, well, we got a little bit over. I don't think it's exactly on 60 minutes, but thank you anyway.
Oh, no. So
no.
It's cool.
Oh, you're enjoying it? Oh, good. Here we are. And he's enjoying it as well. That's
No, but...
No, I'm not. Well, if you're not enjoying it, why you go to bed, eh? That's probably easiest, isn't it? Be nice and fresh for tomorrow. Hey, there's one little thing I was going to drop in. I'm going to read the little extract in a minute. About the Vale of Neath, alright? This is a bit I've always liked, but these days Neath doesn't get much good press, alright? Just doesn't. It's this sort of, former industrial area. It's a bit depressed kind of thing, but it's absolutely stunning, beautiful. This is the kind of thing I think the Welsh Tourist Board should be doing, alright? I get all those messages. I get so many messages every week. Thank you very much. I get so many kind messages of support, and thank you for spreading the word. And the numbers are growing all the time. Ben's going to send out the word. Yeah, that's it. But you tell once you put the word out in the valleys, we'll be up there, mate. The Tafia will be all over it. And I'll take you up there. We'll make a video. And I get loads of... Okay, thanks, Anne. Yeah, we get loads of nice messages of people saying I'm doing more work for Wales than the Welsh Tourist Board. So maybe they'll watch this and click on, right? Listen to this now. This is wonderful, I think. The valley, it talks about the Neve, the river going through Neath, right? Which people don't realise is stunningly beautiful. All they think of, it's former industrial. There's actually a picture there. It's a bit rubbish. I should... see, if I'd been better YouTuber, I'd have copied all these pictures and be on screen now. And you say, oh, that's lovely, Ross. But there we are. At least we got started on time when it hasn't broken down yet. Right, the valley through which the river flows varies considerably in width, but it follows a much straighter course than most of the valleys of Glamorgan. The scenery throughout the vale is of the most romantic description, and its slopes are sacred to tales of a Tylwyth Teg, the fairies. It is said that in this glen, Shakespeare laid the scene of the Midsummer Night's Dream. I never knew that, Wouldn't that be wonderful to be able to... say, well, this is the valley where Midsummer Night's Dream was inspired, and it's got a legends and history of fairies. And around there, some stunning waterfalls. I mean, some of the waterfalls are like 80 feet high. They're absolutely amazing. But there we go. Great discussion about megalithic stuff going on. I think I've fallen way too far behind to try and catch up with all of that. Hope you can see the comments. Great discussion tonight. Thank you very much. It's great to see it. All lovely, polite, and informative, and humorous. And the only one spamming is Arnie. No, that's not really. Because he's not here, I'm teasing him. I should only tease people when they're to their face. That's my policy about humour. Right, so there's loads of examples here of the Bodvik Stone on Margam Mountain. The Arthurn Stone at Merthyr Tydfil. So what's that one then? Does anyone know about this one? I think it... I'll show it to you. The text is not quite clear. Is that Arthen or Artben? I hope you can read that. To me, it looks like Artben. or A-R, it's got to be Arthen, I think, A-R-T-H-E-N, stone at Merthyr Tydfil. And the tombstone near Margam. Does anyone know about these, please? Please let me know if you know about these people. And this, I thought was fantastic. There's a stone, right, okay, let's take a second. Some of the stones are Roman milestones. Well, they always say that. While the others, as a rule, mark the burial place of some famous man. Now, I think here is a little clue. The book knows something, and he dared say, and he's going to sneak it out, right? And listen to this, whichever way it works out, it's fascinating. The stone at Kenfig has the inscription, Pompeius Carantorius. So assuming that's the name of a Roman, right? People in the district some years ago thought it was Old Welsh, and that it read, Pimp bis car antorus. The 5 fingers of a friend slew me. Now, here we are. Well, we'll know what we do now. A lot of these actually might well be written in Welsh. Yes, interesting. I think I showed the camp near Margam. Oh, what's the bit I was going to read? I put markers in. There's a bit... Oh, here we are. Hey, here we go. Thank goodness, there is the quote and everything. Oh, there we are. You can see how close I was now with my memory of the quote. Ooh, what am I doing? Don't touch anything, Ross. Got to be careful with this mouse. It's got clicky bits on the side. So I can accidentally do bad things. Are we still on? Yep, you're okay. When are you going to do the Blackwood Mound footage, Ross Butty Boyo? Oh, yeah, I've got to put up the one for... when you say Blackwood Mound, are you talking about the Eglwys... what's it? The Toyn of Morgan, yeah? Yeah, why haven't I put that up? I'll definitely get up the next couple of days, alright? Because I filmed that ages ago, and it's really good. With Sean on it, doing a poem and everything. It's fantastic. It's all done. I don't know why I haven't posted it. Thank you for the reminder. I will... Please... That'll be first on my list, alright? Because I've waited way too long for that. Right, this is the quote. Among the early princes, who it is said fought in Siluria against the Saxons, was Arthur the Great. So renowned a warrior was he, that in after years many tales were written about his valour and great deeds. Some of these are not true, but it is very pleasant for us to think that the person about whom these heart-stirring stories are told was a ruler of our own native county. So there you go. So have a look at that. If you can freeze it, pause it later. This will the way it works is you two will process the video and then it's over an hour, so it'll probably take probably tomorrow morning before it comes up live. Okay. Now then, there's I'm almost finished. There's just a couple of things I want to give. I'm not going to read the whole chapters, but what I want to give is the essence of it. And what seems to have happened, I know David would be interested in this subject particularly, is that when the Normans arrived, this is when the feudal system was really brought into South Wales. And the feudal system is brutally cruel, you know. You basically work for your lord and you get to keep a little bit. And also you almost become a chattel, you become a possession. It's almost like a kind of slavery. Well, you pretty much is, really, because you're owned by the lords. And this seems to have gone, even way back then, we're talking 12th century, and the rules were a lot lighter in Wales because the people were very difficult to control and they weren't fully conquered. But even that they refused to take. And this book refers to the laws, which are laws that have become a hot subject in very recent times, or now, in modern Britain. Because the Welsh continually referred back to their own ancient laws. And they won't go through all of them, but there's rebellion after rebellion after rebellion. And all these castles, by the way, castles look amazing. Look at, wow, incredible, these castles. Castles got captured all the time. I don't know how they did it. I mean, they didn't have siege. I mean, they just climbed over, I think. It's amazing. The castles. There's a story that one castle, oh gosh, get it right. I think it's by Ogborn, in fact. Or Kenfig, or the one next to Kenfig, Coity. Anyway, one of them changed hands 3 times in a day, supposedly. So, I don't know. They're not quite as impressive as they look, maybe, some of these castles, right? Anyway, what I want to do is right, actually, I will read this bit, okay? This is the bit I was going to read, actually. So bear with me if you don't mind. I hope you enjoy this. I'll bring the thing to a close after it, okay? After Arthur's time came Morgan, called Morgan Moynfawr. Sorry, Morgan the Courteous or Peaceful. From him comes the name Morgannwg, the Welsh name of the county. He it was who made Cardiff the seat of government of his principality and made the present Monmouthshire into a separate territory called Gwent. Aha, 'cause I did say I'd tell where the name Glamorgan and Gwent comes from. The new division Gwent was governed by one of Morgan's sons. Now, I just want to say here, so you think, aha, so Gwent's only a very new name, okay? Gwent was only invented in, when would this be, 600s or something like that? No. It's the other way around, it turns out. According to this book, I'm not going to dig it all out now, but early in the book, the whole county originally was Gwent, not Glamorgan. It was Gwent, and Gwent was massive. Gwent, we're talking about a good chunk of Brecknockshire, or Brecon, Hereford, a big chunk of England as well, all the way west as far as the Nairth, I think. And that whole area of Glamorgan, what's now Glamorgan and Gwent, and up through Hereford and places like that, it was all called Gwent. But actually, the proper term, though, before that, if you go to ancient times, was Eglwysr. Hang on, where's my marker for the page for Eglwysr? Oh, page 2. Oh, there we are, very early in the book, because I didn't go looking for it. So it is Esselug. I've just written in the top. Esselug. Not Siluris, alright? Esselur. Yeah, Coity was tax-free till the 1400s. Yeah, later than that, actually. We had no allegiance to any particular crown. It wasn't part of any treaties. It was much later than the 1400s. I think it's like 1600s or something. It was tax-free, yeah. Very interesting story. Coity's a very interesting place. I did do a little video there last year, which I haven't posted. So the people are upset I haven't put up the Blackwood one yet. There's stuff from last summer I haven't done yet, and the summer before. I've got about 60, 70 lots of videos filmed. So please bear with me. Forget lockdown, we can't leave the house. I've got plenty of work to crack on with, alright? I'll just go through it. So anyway, I'll just give a little background on the name Esslug. Esselug. And the people were called Esloir. I hope you can read that. Esloir. Yes, you're bounding in prospects, you see. That's what I always thought it was as well, I was always bounding in prospects, and it's Siluris. But Siluris seems to be a case of the Romans struggling to say Esselur. Silur becomes Silur, because if you look at it, the Welsh pronunciation is Esselur becomes Siluris. So it's Silur, Esslur. Now, a lot of people are very keen on this Siluris thing. There's a lot of companies and t-shirts and all sorts of Siluris. But that's just a Roman name, okay? I'm just going there. Alright, I'll just do it quickly. In olden times, the district now called Glamorgan was part of an independent state. To the people who lived here at this period, it was known as Esloig. And these people were called Eslur. When the Romans came into this part of the country, they turned that name into Roman form and called it Siluria. The people were then called Silures. Another name for the Welsh state was Gwent. I expect to see that way, way, way back in ancient times. Gwent. Which in later times was used only for that portion of the ancient state now known as Monmouthshire. It's back to Gwent again since this book was written. Gwent and Estloig both mean the same thing. They mean fair or beautiful. So you can see that the people who lived here in those days were proud of their homeland and thought so much of it that they called it the beautiful country. In the 6th century, that's about 1400 years ago, now almost 1500 years ago, a prince of this state was named Morgan. He as it was who changed the name of the district. Instead of calling the whole state Gwent, he instead said it should be called Morgannwg. He also said that the eastern portion of his lands should still be called Gwent, while the western part was to be known as Gwlad Morgan, Land of Morgan, from Glad Morgan, the present name Glamorgan. So it's not strictly speaking Glamorgan Shire. Henry VIII brought the shires into this country and everything much later. So it's country of Morgan. There you are. Patricia, I grew up in Owenny and my parents are buried there, and to think Arthur's body passed by on that river brought tears to my eyes. Yeah, the Owenny's very historical, yes. It's very moving, you should say that. brings tears to my eyes, and no one knows his history. And it's just been removed from the schools, and I think you've got to find a 100-year-old book printed in India to read about it. What's going on, eh? Right, the last little bit, I'm jumping forward again now to page 282, reading about Arthur. So Arthur Morgan, we just went through all that right, about Morgan, right? And now we renamed it all. So, let's share a little bit about Morgan, okay, before we finish, because what I wanted to talk about then was this idea, the crushing idea of serfdom, and what they call the feudal system. It's basically a sort of slavery system, really, where the lord owns everything, and he has to return a certain amount of money to his king, and everybody in his land has to return a certain amount to him, and maybe if they're lucky they get to keep a bit. It's like taxation in reverse. And the Welsh wouldn't have it. They would not put up with it. And there's loads and loads and loads of revolts in here and uprisings, some more successful than others. Many were killed, some they won, some they lost. But they it's an intrinsic right of all people, not just British people, that we have a right to a law, rights as a citizen, or just for being alive, no other reason. Right, so a writer gave us the following particulars about Morgan Moynfawr. Quotes, "He was king of Glamorgan, a wise, generous, a humane, a gentle, and a merciful prince. He made good laws, and was so beloved by his subjects that no one would leave him or stay at home behind him whenever he went to war. He made a law that all men who had lawsuits or quarrels should, before they would try them by the laws of the land, refer to the matter to 12 pious and merciful men, and the king to be director." Sounds a bit like a jury system, doesn't it? I'll say it again. So there was, refer the matter to 12 pious and merciful men, and the king to be the director. This law was called the Apostolic Law, as in the apostles. The gentleness which his good law produced in the country was called the gentleness of Glamorgan, Moinder Morganwg, and became a proverb all over Wales. Isn't that wonderful? The gentleness of Glamorgan was a reference to the legal system, the laws. He was very wild and hasty in his youth, but repented of his wickedness and became the best king that ever was. See, I almost brought a tear to my eye when I heard about that. And then his various battles then. Now there's 3 huge cairns. This is one, I'll just read straight into it. The Saxons were a source of great trouble to the princes who came after Morgan, taking advantage of the weakness of Hywel ap Rhys, the 5th prince since Morgan. By the way, we'd use the term king these days, but it has to be a little bit politically correct in these books. They settled in large numbers in the district. When Arthfael, this is interesting, Arthfael, Arthfael, Arthfael. Yeah, Andrew Wheeler, Merthyr loved a good rising. God, there's one here, mate, in the 1750s you want to read about. Ended up with 60 odd being shot. I will just say a quick thing about it. It was tragic, really, because they were starved out. It was the first industrial action, so about 1800, and they were starving, and the army was called in. The 93rd something were called in, a Scots battalion, and there was a confrontation with the strikers coming one way and the army the other. And the strikers just put a piece of bread on a stick in front of them and walked forward, just saying, "We just want food, that's all we want." And the soldiers refused to take action against the strikers. So we are. So all those, if you're a policeman or everything, you have got a choice. If you think you're not doing the right thing, all right. It still ended badly because the manager stirred things up. But anyway, at least an attempt. Right, I'm getting a bit political tonight. I'll be careful and stop doing that. Or I'll get in trouble. Right, so the Saxons were a great source of trouble to the princes who came after Morgan. Taking advantage of the weakness of Hywel ap Rhys, the 5th prince since Morgan, they settled in large numbers in the district. Saxons settling here. When Arthfael, there's a few Arthfaels in here, so when people say, "Oh, just because some bloke called Arthfael, didn't say Arthur was there." No, it doesn't. There's a few Arthfaels. They're on the royal family tree, which you can order off the website. Plug the merchandise. And you can see Arthfaels on there. I think it's 5 Arthurs altogether, alright? So no, it's not based on some obscure reference to Arthfael in the 8th century. He's someone else. So in 720, he collected a large army and severely defeated these dangerous neighbours near Pencoed. 3 huge cairns on Garth Maelwg. So if anyone knows where Garth Mylwig is, please tell me. Are supposed to mark the burying place of those who fell. Rue Saison, just round the corner here, Saxon Slope or Drift, is said to have been the scene of the battle. So is it more than one battle there? Or have we got mixed up, or have I got mixed up? Because Arthvile was killed in a battle against the Saxons, which was fought near Cardiff, and was buried at Ruth. His death so enraged his followers that they slew nearly half their enemies before they could escape. In the 9th century, another Arthvile was Prince of Glamorgan. In his reign, the Danes made their first appearance on these shores. They ravaged the land and succeeded in carrying away much plunder. Arthvile was succeeded by his son Rhys, who must be remembered as one of the benefactors of his country. Anyway, they had all the problems with the Danes and the battles and all that kind of stuff. But it is fascinating, and I'm if anyone knows different, please tell me. I've got 3 children in school. They're still quite young, so I wouldn't really know. But I don't get the impression this is being taught in schools. It wasn't taught when I was in school.
What's
What the history of Glamorgan, history around here.
Not yet, no. I
don't
know if they do.
I don't think so. In fact, you got the place, a mound over there where a famous battle took place, and you actually go past it every day on your bus to school, and no one knows where it is. I took the same journey. I never knew what it was. My parents used to love going out for the day in the car and go for walks. Didn't know that just within view of their house there was a famous hill fort and battleground. Anyway, I'm drifting on. So there we go. And there's lots more stuff in here. And I did really good on about the... one last thing I was going to say before is that it does mention here all the castles built during the Norman era. After the Normans arrived, the Welsh were building castles on one side, the Normans on the other. So it wasn't just everything's Norman. And it's accepted here, and it's lots of great battles, and it's a fascinating history, okay? And I'd love to go into about the sizes and the laws and how the struggle for the rights of the individuals are part of Welsh history. How can I help? Oh, what have we got here now? How about getting the star mounds printed onto a poster size map? Excellent idea. We shall do that. We should try and get more merch on, isn't it? Got a few things coming up. The game, Gorthburth, the game King Arthur plays up in St. Genydd when he's talking about the stars and everything. Well, I've done some research, worked out the rules and the board, and designed the board, done all that. Artwork's finished. I've tidied it up, so it's not here. Good. I'll show you properly. I've got samples coming from the factories. I'll be taking that. What a perfect Christmas present. Gorthburth, which is very much like the Irish game Finchel. So I made the board so you can play both. And I'm going to try and make it so you can play the Viking Tavel games on the back as well. So one set, you would play, I've picked 5, 6 variations, and I've made up another variation. I'm sure what they did, but I can't find evidence anywhere. So you can play the game with dice as well. So that's a fun one. Like, perfect little board, that big, 18 centimetres square, board in the lid. You had to amaze your friends. That's a great game. I've become addicted. I'm hooked. I used to be a real chess player, and that's my new thing.
Played it like once.
Ah, yeah, but you wait. Well, the board isn't here yet, is it? I've played Rob. I played Zavi. I've had a load of games with Zavi. Just because you've been out. Ah, yeah, we played your brothers, see? So I have to play you on. Give you a good whooping.
Oh, okay. You'll try.
Yeah, I'll try, yeah.
It seems a bit easier to be the middle dude.
It's easier being Arthur breaking out. Yeah, that's on the Tavel version. That's the Viking version. You've got the smaller Welsh version. There's a slight aside. Tavel, the Viking one, I think it's 24 on the outside, and there's 12 in the middle trying to break out with King Arthur. On the Welsh one, Gorthburth, easy for me to say, there is only 4 defenders and 8 attackers, and the king in the middle. Right, anyway, just rolling up now. Yeah, I will get the star mounts printed. One of the things, we're not sure which version to go for. I'm hoping Steve can get more done, and we can put the Babylonian version up. And then, could you just pull that off the wall, Arnie? You love doing that. Can you pull the stamp up off the door? Go on, you enjoy ripping that down.
Cool.
So this is the... So what I was thinking of doing was trying to... This is a photo, if you like, of the night sky from an almanac, from an old book, which I'll be giving out to people who do research. Anyone's interested, I'll send you this. I've scanned it, send it out as a PDF or JPEG, whatever works for you. I was the person in the middle sending out... There's clever people working all this stuff out, right? So what you can do is superimpose this then onto Google Earth and see if you can make it fit onto South Wales. And we're also working on the plots of the mounds. It takes a big job. But in fairness, you can go to places like CADW. And there's a database there of the mounds and cairns in South Wales. Drop that on. But with the latest information from Steve's work, we got the towns and stuff all tied into the Babylonian. So if you want to help, there's one job you can do if you're in lockdown. And something that came up on Facebook this week is, are there jobs that, or is there something we can do while stuck in the house? Apart from buy all the books and read them, of course, which is great. What we need to do is have some clever people have a think, because these are all sort of Greek, Greco-Roman names, like Serpens and Heracles and all that kind of stuff. There's Butes. So, for example, Butes is actually Super and the Babylonian one. So a laborious task is to go through them all and work out which one is where. The book Stephen Willett recommends is by Gavin White, and it's Babylonian Star Lore, if I got that right. You're lucky to have any British history taught in your schools now, yeah, apart from all the terrible things we did to the world. Can we have luminous star maps? Andrew, it's a great idea, isn't it? Oh man, imagine if you have a big luminous one on the ceiling. Every time you go to bed, you can learn a couple more Babylonian stool signs. Well, our Welsh-speaking children were made to stand in a corner with a no Welsh placard. The last one got the key. No, the Welsh not. Oh well. Yeah, there's all that kind of stuff. Well, I think, yeah, I mean, that goes back to a long, long way, Welsh language being suppressed. I mean, I'm a great... my own family, you can see it. I've got my grandparents on both sides. When they were young, they could speak no English. They could only speak Welsh. And then they learned English, partly because mother's side had to go into service in London. Former slavery, really, indentured service. We board and lodge for cooking the dinners and stuff, and cleaning. And then, by the time my father came along, so I was Arnie's grandfather, his mother, that's my grandmother would be speaking over the garden wall and the terraced houses to the person next door in Welsh. And as soon as they see the children come home from school, they flick to English. So my parents couldn't speak Welsh. So there we go. So Shakespeare visiting. Oh, hello. Johnny Nigma again. I have lots of stuff I have researched about Shakespeare visiting Brecknockshire circa 1590. To inspire A Midsummer Night's Dream and Henry the... Oh, would you be interested? I certainly would be interested. I think that's fantastic. Anyway, I think people are starting to log off now. People got things to do. Places to go. What other merch we got coming up? Oh, hang on. We've got oh, yeah, brilliant idea
BHH
for...
t-shirt?
The t-shirt. Very clever idea for the t-shirt.
Do you? I was just guessing. Do you actually have a t-shirt?
Yeah. We haven't printed it yet. I'll keep that for next week. It's a very clever idea. But if anyone's got any ideas for stuff, and not just, and it's like, just a hat that says Britain's Hidden History, it's a bit cleverer than that, right? We're a step above that kind of thing. It's
Swords?
Swords. A real sword. We're going to start making swords now. So in the back garden I have directed my own forge with a bellows. We have plenty of access to coal and coke, and we're going to start making our own blast furnace with an anvil. Make swords with runing, Colburn writing. Who plotted the map, Ross? Who plotted this one? Well, this is. That's a good question. I don't know. Hang on. It's just, this is an old one. It's been around for a while. This is from the World Atlas and Gazetteer. If you get loads of these, just go on the internet. You'll find loads of them.
Oh, Mr. Benny Babbles wants a t-shirt.
Mr. Babbles wants a t-shirt. Excellent. That'd be great.
No, he wants one.
And we still do the mounds now. Steve's going around plotting the mounds. He's been doing it for years, and so has Rob. So we got quite a lot of them. But I think it's as we find with the Babylonian map, more and more, it's a lot to do with the town names. It might not be the mounds as well. So the whole thing ties in. It's huge. We're going to go for swords. Yeah, one of the designs we have from Richard Davis. I just put it up on the wall so I can see it. Except I put it so well I can't see it. Oh, excuse me a second. You'll close up my left nipple or something. This is one that Richard painted. It's based on, I think we've had this before. That might be quite nice. Maybe that way up. Anyway, that's, if you don't recognise it, it's from the windowsill in Nevern. So it's like a cross and also looks like a woman, okay?
That just reminded me.
Right,
I found this. You could do statues like this.
My dragon, yes, my Thraig. I was organising something years ago. It never happened. Probably because they're well.
Okay, see ya.
Anyway, that's it. Yeah, bedtime. Thank you very much. Yeah, bring it to an end. Thank you. Distracted by football, I missed the start. John, don't even mention the football. Liverpool are 3 down when we left it. And I haven't even looked at the Cardiff City score because that was going badly as well yesterday. So don't anybody put the Liverpool score up, alright? I did enjoy the Man United game though. Cymroglyphics dictionary flashcards with symbol on front and means on the back for learning. Excellent idea. Excellent idea. I love that. Yeah, the t-shirt design, by the way, to give you a clue, is based on using hieroglyphs. And then it says something, a bit of a catchphrase, in Cymroglyphics, which you can read back. I think it's very clever. It wasn't my idea, right? The map is Rand McNally, 1944. Well, thank you, Mr. Wellville. Whoever Wellville is, that's much appreciated. Thank you very much for that. I was given this by Craig Walters. I just remembered. That's who gave it to me. Because Craig has been working on this for yonks and yonks and yonks. I hope Craig's watching. Go on, say something, Craig. He's there some weeks. Yes, Chris Wood, the Welsh star map. Yeah, Chris is the one. Craig's the one who pointed out the Lion's Stone and all that stuff. All right. Yeah, North Star Pobe, dial M for Merthyr. Yeah, I love that. Dial M for Merthyr. I think Benny's got that on some of his stuff, hasn't he? Dial M for Merthyr. Right, thank you very much. So I've run over a bit, so I don't know. It all seemed to go quite well. I think everything worked. And I found out as well, there's only certain tunes I'm allowed to use. I can't use all the tunes. So I hope everyone enjoyed that. I really enjoyed it. And I got so much more to cover. It's one channel with no shortage of content. I reckon we only covered 1% of the stuff we have to cover. And also only about, 10% of the stuff that was discussed this week on the Facebook group. And that's about all the people who are getting in touch with me with their findings and their research. And I wanted to say, we've got the Babylonian stuff, the myth of the Romans, the Anglo-Saxon rewriting the history, the real Christianity story. God, I can't remember them all. The migration to America. That's what keep meaning to do. We have to do. That's got to be the next week or two. For our American friends, there's lots of them tuning in. Lots of people in California. We got Kentucky. Lots of people in Canada. It's wonderful how it's growing. It's all very exciting. And it's so much fun to do. So I hope you enjoyed it as well. If you enjoyed it half as much as me, I'll try to remember that Frodo quote from Lord of the Rings then. Well, I can't. Okay, so thanks everybody. I'm trying to work out where close it down a bit and put the thing up. Last couple of comments before we go. No star, Pob, no star. Heddwch, yes. Heddwch, Pob. I had to speak and sing in Welsh when I was a kid, and I can't recall a lot of it. I might come back to you. It's all stored at the back somewhere, isn't it? Hit the thumbs up, people. Yeah, thank you, David. Hit the thumbs up. Always appreciate some nice feedback. Comments. So what will happen is the video will run overnight while YouTube processes it, and then it'll reappear tomorrow, and you can add comments and all that kind of stuff. Watch it again. Tell your friends. Spread the word. And yeah, thank you, everyone. I've got to emphasise enough. I can't emphasise enough. This is a big team project, alright? There's loads of people working on this, and you're very welcome to get involved. And the more you want to do, the better. If you imagine a bowl of soup, people say they feel like they're taking the food out of my plate if they come up with an idea. No, you're not taking spoons out of the bowl I'm drinking. You're taking bucketfuls out of this big ocean of information we're drowning in, alright? So get involved, and you'll be surprised how much fun you'll get from it. If you enjoyed it as much as we have, we enjoyed it twice as much as you have. Thank you very much. What does he say, Lord of the Rings? It's like, I don't see... half of you I don't see as much as I like, and half of you I don't like as much as I see, or something like that, isn't it? Alright, brilliant. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Arnie, as well. Yeah, he's gone. I can't believe he's gone to bed, but he's gone anyway. That would be amazing if he went straight to bed. Thanks, everyone. Any more questions? And please, during the week, send suggestions for topics. I'm going to do something on Gwent next week. I'd like to do more on the American, the migration to America, Madoc, in the 6th century, all that kind of stuff. I think the lighting's better. It looks so white and washed out. And I'll try and get someone else on screen with me. Maybe even Mr. Pennington. I'll beg him. Lee, please come on the show. So, no star all. Hwyl fawr. Is that weird? Right, the right button. I will leave the comments on a little bit longer so people there wrap up their conversations, okay? I have to be careful with the music, but night, everyone. And thank you, everyone, for the help, for making this so much fun. Give me a purpose in life, and it's all new to me as well, so don't feel as though you're starting from behind. We're all trying to catch up, okay? Good night. No star, Vicky Stingers, David, Mark. I look forward to Sunday evenings. It's so nice, so do I. Brilliant. Okay, definitely bye-bye now. Oh. Why is Xavi on the picture, not you? Yeah, just the way it cropped that was. Yeah, sorry, I had a little late intruder. He just seen the caption with his twin brother on there, but not him. I'm going to try and get you all on. I just thought it was quite cute.
That's not me.
Little bonus clip footage. All right, come on, bed you.